Hello and welcome to my no melee damage method of killing the Phantom Muspah. In this video, I will be showing you a strategy to not take any melee damage from the melee form of the Muspah. But before we begin, I need to go over a couple of things. First of all, this is not a full in-depth guide. I will put a couple of other in-depth guides in the description below, but keep in mind most of them were made on the day of release and some of the mechanics were changed. This video is for people who are tired of taking melee damage during the melee form of the Muspah, people who are tired of freezing the boss, or for people who want to increase their kills per hour and get the most money and kills per hour possible at the boss. Second, this is the way I personally like to kill the boss. I haven't really watched any other guides or anything, I just learned it myself. But keep in mind I've only done 300 KC and I might not know everything about the boss. But I hope this method helps you guys. The benefits of this method are that you will take less damage because you won't be taking any damage from the melee form. Therefore, you will be getting longer trips because you won't be using as much food or resources. You will also be getting faster kills because you will spend less time eating or trying to freeze the boss. And you can also use any spellbook you want, which means you can bring thralls. The downsides I've noticed during testing this method was that in a budget setup, your run energy can become an issue, but it can be resolved with just a stamina potion or taking summer pies as food. And also the spikes go on top of the tiles that I have marked, so you might need to improvise on the pathing that you take. The first thing you may have noticed about Muspah is that he does not path like a normal boss. He actually paths towards you from his middle tile, much like Akka. But luckily, like Akka, you can run a certain pattern on the floor and avoid all damage when it's in its melee form. As you may have noticed, if you run in a square pattern, you will end up taking hits from the boss because of the way it paths. The solution to this problem is running in an octagon pattern. So what you're going to want to do is run along the wall for one attack and then run diagonal for the next. And you continue that pattern until it switches forms. If you want these tiles, pause the video, go down in the description, and look at the paste bin I have posted there. There are tiles for 5-tick and 4-tick weapons. This is the tile I like to start on. It makes it really simple to set up. When it starts with ranged, you're just going to wait till it switches phases. You're going to run to the next tile, and you're going to attack with mage twice. Then you want to run along the marked tiles. These tiles are the 5-tick tiles because I am using the Tumeken shadow. Here is the example. If it is melee phase to begin with, you're going to want to attack once from the start tile and then once from the next tile. Then you just run the pattern like normal. Now when it switch phases, you actually want to stop running along the pattern, and as you can see, the spikes will cover the tiles that are marked. However, this is more of a strategy than a method because of the spike mechanic. As long as you run along the wall for one attack and then diagonal for the next, you will be avoiding all of the melee damage. As you can see on spawn, you will need to quickly switch into your mage gear and attack, and then run along the pattern as well. If you are late, you can skip the second attack and just continue running. When Muspah spawns his animated spikes, there is a 5-tick delay, which means you can attack twice on the next tile, and then continue the cycle. It is very important to notice, even if you aren't on the marked tiles, it's not that big of a deal. As long as you run straight for one attack and then diagonal for the next, you will always be okay. Sometimes the spikes will get in the way though. Next, I'll use a bofa to demonstrate the 4-tick method. You're going to want to start on the same start tile as before. If it starts with the range phase, you're just going to DPS that until it switches. Once it switches, you can do one attack from here, then you gotta move to the next tile, do one attack, and then continue the cycle from there. The tiles are slightly different, but the method is the same. You're just gonna go in an octagon. One thing I noticed while testing the budget setups were that the spikes can get pretty out of hand, so I would recommend still using Ice Barrage for the second half of the kill. During the first half of the kill, you can still use this method to speed it up a little bit, but if there are too many spikes, it's going to be very difficult to not take any melee damage. If you decide to bring a magic switch, make sure the tiles you use are based on the attack speed of your magic weapon, not your ranged weapon. Even if you're not going to freeze, I would highly recommend a small magic switch at the bare minimum just to speed up this phase. With the kills being faster, you will actually take less damage and have less spikes crowding the room. Having a small mage switch will also give you the option to freeze if the spikes get too crazy. With a 4-tick weapon, the same concept applies as before. Even if you're not on the tiles, it still works just fine. Thank you guys for watching. I hope that this short method will help you in the future when you're killing the Muspah. If you have any questions about the method, leave them down in the comments. I am very good at replying to every single one of them. If you liked this video or found it helpful, please leave a like. Also, let me know in the comments if you want to see more methods like this in the future. And as always, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thanks for watching.